We're obsessed with the Connie Pheiff Show. It's about a lifestyle shift to move up or out.
Hey, what's your jam? What's the one thing that really drives you? What makes you unstoppable?
It's about opening a new door to live your dream.
People give up way too early on their dreams.
It's about enjoying the journey. It's about keeping it real.
Damn, now the interviewee is interviewing the interviewer. I like this.
It's all about you.
I knew there was something else I wanted to do. Stop taking shit so seriously. Y'all can do this. Take an outrageous look at life and laugh.
This is the Connie Pheiff Show.
We love your voice. We love your jam. You need to be on radio.
And now your host, Connie Pheiff.
Well, hey there. Hello, it's Connie Pheiff, the Unstoppable Diva, and you're here listening to the Connie Pheiff Show. So I just want to share with you some amazing things that have been going on. Many of you know that we had our women's program last year that crashed because we had so many hits to the website that we literally crashed. I won't say crashed the website, but the internet, but we did crash our website. So we rebranded, we refocused, filed trademarks, and yay, the trademark is in. So our women's program will be back in action. I was so excited. I was doing a crazy lady dance. So with that, we have some really exciting giveaways as we do every week. And so, we're going to be creating some new t-shirts, some autographed books that we have for giveaways as well. And you never know, our guests might just have a giveaway for you as well. So to get that giveaway, you want to make sure that you are sharing and you keep commenting on the show, and make sure you share, and let us know that you're sharing. Make sure you tag us, and also tag our guest today, which is Adam Hergenrother. And Adam, please make sure I'm saying your name correctly.
You did a great job, because it took me to about high school to figure out how to say it. So you nailed it.
Well, that was me like with Pheiff when I got married. I said my husband-in-law, I'm like, all of these like loops I got to put in his name.
Yeah.
Like, let alone nobody knows how to spell it. I can't tell you how many times, especially being here in LA, that I'm, known as Connie Pfeiffer. I'm like, well, if I'm Michelle Pfeiffer's sister, okay.
Yeah, I can work with that.
Yeah, we can work with that.
Yeah.
But awesome. Totally get it. So Adam Hergenrother, make sure you're tagging him. And you'll see his spelling on the show and when you're looking at it. But so many great things are happening. So the question I ask all the time is, why are you here? Why are you listening to the Connie Pheiff Show? And let me tell you, it's because we are a business radio show. We're a bit edgy. We're unscripted. We're unedited. You just never knew what's going to come out of this mouth, let alone our guest. But we're talking about helping you move up in the C-suite, move up in corporate, because I've been there. I worked my way up. I was the CEO, but I realized it was time to get out and live the life that I wanted to, live the dream on holding that business that I wanted to. And it's been 12 years. And let me tell you, I have never looked back, but there's definitely been those ups and downs. There's been those moments where you think to yourself, why am I doing this? But if you hang in there long enough, it all comes back as long as you are living your passion. And that's what we're all about. We're all about keeping the passion of life activated for the world's most daring mind. So remember to share. And today we are going to be talking with business leader Adam Hergenrother and about his 5-step mediocrity detox challenge. Now, of course, when I hear detox, I'm like, okay, I got to go back to the gym again. But that's not what this is about. So, Adam, on this really quick introduction, in less than 10 years, you have built, again, a very rapidly growing company through your commitment to thinking big and never giving up. And I'm sure it's all been uphill. So
far from that.
So please share.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Connie, thank you for all that you're doing. You're serving the world and serving a business niche. I know how difficult it is and how time consuming a lot of this can be, but your voice is being heard. So I just want to thank you for you going for all that you do. Yeah.
Thank you. So you're living big. You're never giving up. So that just, again, it tells me, I mean, and again, you also talk about, you're doing that with fearless, purposeful, unconventional, and very systematic approach to making that happen. So what's your secret to growing your business?
Well, failure, maybe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Crushing websites.
Exactly. It's interesting because I listened to your story about and hear about you making a decision to live your life. And I think that's the only reason why I'm actually in business is because I just made a decision to never live in mediocrity, right? And decide to live my own life and structure. I think there's this stigma in business that in order to be a CEO or a vice president or somebody that you have to work 8 out of 7 days, right? Like you have to create a day somehow to be able to get this all in there. And one of the things that I love sharing with people is that I think you can accomplish a lot of things that you want to accomplish in a structured period of time that you want to accomplish it. Now, there's moments and there's weeks that you've got to be out of balance with that, right? But for the most part, you can structure your life the way it is. And that's what I love to share on people.
Well, it's really interesting. And like you said, a lot of like this, you would never walk in corporate with, this look. I mean, let alone I was a CEO for Girl Scouts. Back in Pennsylvania. I mean, it was, and people in corporate get to where they feel or they have that sense of, I have to go in, I have to have that corporate business suit on. This is what I have to be. This is what I have to do. I was never more freer than when I was out of corporate. And it's just like my true self came out to who I really was. And not saying I didn't love what I was doing. Sure. I loved it. Yeah. I thought I would be there until I was dirt. But unfortunately, things change, things happen, and you got to move on. And even before Girl Scouts, I was at the chamber, in the U.S. chamber. So again, all business. And I was all business. And, and when I see people now that I knew from back then, they're like, Connie?
That's awesome.
This is me. So yeah, it is. It's all awesome. All awesome. So you've talked about shedding the habits that crush your dreams and having those 5 steps to prove that anything is possible. So is that part of your detox plan?
Yeah, well, I think, first of all, one of the questions I love, hearing you ask kind of like what makes people unstoppable, right? And I think, look, living mediocrity to me is defined as living somebody else's life, right? And so that's kind of like a broad definition of what I believe that is. Because you can still be working hard, but being in mediocrity, right? You cannot be working at all and still be living well below your mediocrity level. Right. So for me is to be unstoppable just means that you're designing your life with purpose. And so for how you look at my life is I've structured it so that I'm creating look, most people in life follow 3 separate boxes, right? They have this box that's, hey, I'm going to go ahead and a learn box, right? So I'm going to go to school. I'm going to be in this box. And when I'm learning here, I'm just going to stay here until my last formal education. And then all of a sudden, as soon as I get out of that box, I'm now going to jump over to this work box. And I'm going to stay in this work box. And like we hear people say, like, hey, I've only got 7 more years left and I'm going to retire and I'm going to be 55. My life's going to be completely different, right? They live in this work box, right? Right. And then you have this kind of play box. And so they think like, once I get out of this work, then I'll be able to play. Well, you kind of look at these people segregate their lives in these boxes. And I kind of woke up and I'll share my story in a few minutes, but I said, why can't we do all these every day? Right? Why can't you learn? Why can't you work? And why can't you play every single day? Therefore, we all are going to die, right? I don't know if people realize that, but we are. So that way, when you take your last breath, you know that you've gotten the opportunity to live, work, and play every single day. And it's just, we got to stop separating that too and just live those moments.
Well, I love how you're saying that. And part of the struggle when people that are in corporate and they're very rigid, they're very structured. And then when they do step out, and I know I'm guilty of it, I would have to literally where I used to live, we had a front part of the house. It used to be a doctor's office, so there was a separate entranceway there that I created into my office at the time. Well, I would go to the gym in the morning, and I would come home, and I would have to go around and go in through the doctor. I was like, okay, I'm going to work. I go to work. Now it's like, I mean, clients call me any time of day, and it took me a while to get used to that. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm closed now. But but then, I work with celebrities. I work with athletes, and so they're doing their thing no matter what time or what day of the week it is. And so I had to get past that, and that's those habits that you talk about.
Yeah.
And if you want to live that way, so I'm living where I am having fun and I'm working at the same time. I mean, I could be out somewhere, and you do have to say this is downtime. And I actually do that for Saturday morning. My husband and I, Saturday morning is our date night. And we have a combined family of 5 kids. And we started doing that when we first got together, because otherwise we would not be here today. And we just said, okay, we have to find that common ground where it's our time. And our time was Saturday morning while the kids are off doing soccer or piano or whatever they were doing. And we had the exes, we went to them and said, okay, all you have to do is Saturday morning. We got the rest. And then the rest of the week, you're off, living life and doing what you have to do. So you have to find those boundaries, those limitations, but at the same time, like you said, enjoy what you're doing, because life is short.
Yeah. It's like that work-life integration. It's not work-life balance. If you look at work-life balance, actually, people would be working 50% is balance, right? Which means you're working 86 hours a day, essentially, right? And that's, or 86 hours a week. And that's not what people want to do. So it's that, 15, 20 years ago, when people worked in a corporate environment, when they worked hard, but when they left, they actually really disconnected, right? There was no other way to get them. And if somebody called your phone, they screened it, and you went to an answering machine, right? And they wouldn't expect that. So I think part of it is creating expectations and having the appropriate dialogue and treating people like adults in the workplace. One of the things that I love doing in all of our organizations and businesses is we have no set hours for people. We have unlimited paid vacation. We have, and this isn't new for anybody, but this is part of setting
work for you.
Yes, part of setting a culture for who you are and who you're going to hire. And what I found is if you actually treat people like adults, because here's the thing: if you expect people to be on at 7:00 at night because you send them an email or have a question about that, why can't they be on at 1:00 in the afternoon for a personal thing? Right. And so for us, it's just allowing the freedom so that we understand where we're clear on what needs to accomplish each day and each week. And as long as they're getting those results done, if somebody wants to get up at 5:00 in the morning and crank it out until about 9 and go boating or skiing or riding and enjoy that, go ahead. Right. We're just a results oriented organization. And so just find out what's going to drive you. Be very clear on setting those expectations of who you are as a business, and then attract the people that want to work with you. I mean, you should be able to walk in a room and people go, I hate Adam. And some people go, I want to do everything with Adam. Because then you're very clear on who you're attracting, which, remember, you don't create a culture. Culture isn't ping pong tables and free beer. Culture is a pure application of the individuals that you bring onto your team.
That's a great definition. I love that. My team, they're all over the world, but and we work like that. And because of our time difference, I'll get up in the morning, like I said, and I'm up early. Yeah. And I'll have an inbox full of it's done. Yeah. And I love it. Because I'm, and I could go do my thing because I'm, I handle all the sales and they're doing everything else. But can a corporation develop that type of, if you will, culture in their organization, allowing people to do that?
I think it starts with the founder's vision or the CEO's vision of where they want the organization to go, right? I mean, GE, what's her name, who took over at GE, then when she came in there and talked a lot about how they changed the culture, they used to have a 15-page application in their employee manual, in their employee manual about their dress code. And one of the first things that she did to change the culture was literally bring it down to two words, which said dress appropriately. And then HR wanted to then cite what appropriately meant. And so then she was back and said, no, that's the whole point, is you have to treat people like adults. And that was she talks about that was the catalyst for changing her culture, because it literally just said dressed appropriately. And it's like, a lot of times you'll find me in a t-shirt, right? I'd either do a meeting or else, I'd probably most likely be in there. And that's the same thing for the people that work with you in your organization. If you know that they love being in a t-shirt and jeans, but they could be called into a meeting, then just keep a pair of dress slacks and a coat around, right? So you can quickly change or integrate into that, right? So we don't have to be so rigid anymore when we're building these organizations. You know what? The other thing is it's flipped. The triangle is flipped where owners used to carry a lot more weight than employees, meaning that it's like, oh, I'm going to go work for this big company, and you kind of have to abide by their rules and structure and kind of live this. Well, with all of technology connecting us to all over the world, all different opportunities or entrepreneurs or whatever they want to do, it's flipped a little bit. And we now as employers have to go out there and say, how do we create an atmosphere so people know that they're connected, that they know that they're welcome, and they have growth. And if you're combining all of those, then you're gonna create an organization and a culture that fits who you are.
Yeah, the growth one is a really important one, and that's a whole nother conversation. I mean, you can do the dress appropriately, and like you said, do the ping pong table or whatever, free coffee. But if there isn't growth in the organization, then the people are going to run out the door.
Especially the talented ones.
Right. And, so it's really hard. And I see a lot of companies that are struggling because they cannot keep the good employees on board. Those that are just making it by, they're the ones that are staying. And that's the biggest struggle that organizations are having. And people want to have that flexibility. They want the freedom, and they also want the empowerment.
Yes.
Of what they're doing. So let's take a really quick break and let's come back with this exciting conversation. The Connie Pheiff Show is heard everywhere. You can find The Connie Pheiff Show on most of your favorite networks. It's time to now recognize and thank our major networks for all of their support. In the house, we have Conscious Business Radio, C-Suite Radio, Transformation Radio, iHeartRadio. We are also heard on Google Play, Apple Radio, Stitcher, and so many more that I just can't keep up with them all. I'm Connie Pheiff, your unstoppable diva. Learn more about our gym and how we can work together at my fancy schwanky website, ConniePheiffShow.com. I'll see you over there. Until then, like, share. Now back to the show. And we're back, and you're listening to The Connie Pheiff Show, and I'm Connie Pheiff. And our unstoppable guest today is Adam Hergenrother, and he is committed to thinking big and never giving up. And he works through a process of fearless, purposeful, unconventional, and systematic. And it works. It works. I mean, how many? You've been doing this for 10 years now, and you found that secret formula. And so what advice would you give to companies, large or small, that are looking at ways to better understand their people and to help them really want to do more, have that personal engagement, that emotional engagement, but they really want to come into work every day and they want to be doing more?
Yeah, well, I think it starts with identifying the brand that you want to create, right? And then once you identify that brand, sticking to exactly what it is that you want to do. And we talked a little bit earlier before the break that empowerment and freedom, the freedom is really driving the workplace today. And it's freedom to bring ideas. So you're not cutting people off. It's not just freedom to go do something. It's freedom that they can have the speech. The two biggest characteristics of a leader right now is empathy and vulnerability, which means that I hardly know anything, right? I always look at this as we run several large organizations, and I always look at it as my people employ me. Like, I don't employ them, right? And I'm wrong more than they are. And I actually need them more than they need me. Yeah. So when you take that attitude from this, it doesn't put this in like a servant relationship. This is, or like a power in your relationship. This is whoever has the greatest idea brings it to the table, and we have radical conversations around that. And that becomes a staple of an organization. If you want to grow, it's who's providing and who's allowing the freedom, who's staying connected in smaller groups if you have a larger organization, or how do you stay connected in just a small organization for that? And then who's allowing the freedom for people to share ideas, right? And then try their ideas out and at least be heard by these things. And then identify your brand so that you can, from that point on, then take it and then run with it. So at least you're attracting the people who want to run with you. You know what I see too many organizations doing is, if you get this picture in your head, right? If you're running down the Oscar line, right, to the big stage, right, where it is, a lot of businesses are running down there and they're stopping and they're trying to grab people along with them. Like, hey, come on, throw me, show you on my shoulder. I'm going to carry you down. I'm going to run up this stage with you. So what you have to be doing as a business owner is you have to be setting a clear vision, clear direction, removing roadblocks. And when you're running, you need to turn around and look who's standing up and running with you. There's too many people grabbing people and trying to pull them with them, instead of understanding that you got to allow people to be and run with you. And when that happens, and newsflash, people realize there's a bad moments in building business. So the people that you're pulling along, the minute things get tough, they break and they leave. And the people that got up and ran with you, they're going to go, you know what? If you're being honest with us, in your truthful and you have vulnerability, we're in a little bit of a tight pickle, but let's all rally together to solve the problem. And I think that's the big difference between organizations.
And I experienced that again just last year when, all of this, the crash was happening, and I had several family members. It was about this time last year, family members that had passed away. And at first it was like, okay, you're all fired. It was like,
we're all done.
What just happened?
Yeah, exactly.
But just like, I turned around and they're all standing behind me saying, no, we could fix this.
Yeah.
We could figure out. And it wasn't that it was something wrong on our part. What was wrong was we didn't have enough bandwidth, to hold the capacity of, the number of people. We had almost 1 million people hitting the website in 24 hours. And again,
awesome.
It just crashed. Oh, great problem to have. And, and then
quality problems. Yeah.
Right. And it caused a little domino effects with some other things that were happening at that time. But they were there. They're like, we could fix this. Don't worry. We could fix this. Let's take a breather and we'll come back and we'll make it happen. We'll make it work. And we came back stronger than ever. And I couldn't be prouder. There's days where they just piss me off because I'm like, I want to talk to you. And I just want I'm like, well, we'll text you or we'll email you. And I'm like, but I want to talk to you. I think that's probably our biggest challenge. And they laugh at me and they're like, okay, we got you. Don't worry, we got you. And they do, and they do. And, and I have to learn, even my husband, just relax. I got it. I'm like, okay. And, as a business owner, but you also that vulnerability that you brought up is really, really key. Even when I was back at Girl Scouts and we knew the realignment was happening and everyone had to reapply for their positions. I was out traveling, over a year, being the promoter, saying how great this was, how wonderful this was. And of course, people wanted to throw tomatoes at me for what was going on. And it was that vulnerability. I finally stood up there and I said, my job's on the line too.
Yeah.
And that's when the conversation changed.
Yeah.
They were like, really? And I was up there promoting them every step of the way, knowing that my job was on the line. Yeah. And when when it was over for our council and I went in, to pack my office and I turned around and the staff was all standing there and, with flowers and even the ones I never thought would be standing there.
Yeah. They're there.
They were the ones that, that broke my heart the most, I think, just by their kind words. But people, they'll be there for you as long as you're there for them, you respect them. And again, the vulnerability is a big piece of it.
You made a comment in talking about building culture earlier. And like you said, I just want to talk to you face to face. Harvard just came out with this really neat study and they talked about how, obviously email, text, any type of Slack or any like social media. Those can be powerful tools, but we're wasting so much time in that because they found that it took 34 emails to
go back and forth.
One face-to-face or even phone call.
Yeah.
Right. So think about how much wasted time in an organization goes on from when you just get 6 people on your email thread. Right. Everyone goes back and forth 34 times and you go into it after an hour and you're like, just 30 emails in here, 50 emails in here. Right. So I think when it's appropriate, emails work. But for the most of the time, I think we can accomplish a lot more. And I think part of that is creating that culture of just being able to pick up the phone.
Right. Let's pick up the phone. And email a lot of times is a disguise when you don't want to have a conversation with someone.
Well, it is. Well, it's funny you say that because in that same article, they talked about how 90% of the time people thought they could identify the tone of the email, which actually they were only accurate 40% of the time. So not only does it take more time, is people are not even understanding the tone that comes through in the email properly.
Right. As much as you think that you know, or that you get it, or you read it wrong. Exactly. And like you said, you're reading it wrong and, just interpreting it the wrong way. My daughter, and I did not read this wrong, when she got engaged, okay, they're married now 5 years. When she got engaged, she texted me to tell me she was engaged.
Wow.
I was not a happy mama.
Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me?
A
few flowery words there.
Yes.
So when she gets home, she's like, well, you didn't respond. And I'm like, and I was not going to respond. Like, how would you even think? Like by text. So what's been interesting, so now fast forward, like I said, 5 years later, her husband's in the military. She's a teacher with special needs children. And she's not even on social media.
Wow. Yeah.
And I actually did an article and I used her as the example last summer. And I said, okay, a couple of the questions. Okay, why aren't you on social media? And she picks up the phone now. I mean, she'll rarely text now. And she's like, you know what? I learned that I would prefer to have a conversation with someone because it makes more sense. You're not going back and forth 20 times and it's more personal.
Yeah.
So, things change. And through the research that I did find was that a lot more millennials and even younger, they're not jumping on Facebook as quickly as a lot of people used to do. And they're not doing it as much because they still want that personal tension. They're getting back to that personal tension, personal conversation. So I agree with that. I believe that.
Yeah. Well, you can swing the pendulum, and I think it's swung too far. And now we're trying to bring it back more towards that side.
Yeah, I definitely think that we swung too far. So like I said, I have 5 kids. Only one is on social media, and it's because I have a granddaughter, and she'll post pictures of the granddaughter.
Yeah. Again, it serves a purpose, right? I mean, it makes you more productive. It can be more efficient. Right. Emails are good if you're recapping a conversation, have it in writing. There's a lot of really good things email can do, but don't use it as an everyday staple.
Right. It is good to have something in writing, though, right? But don't use it as an everyday statement. So, well, we could go on and on and on about saving the universe, but I think we need to jump off. It's been great having you here. Let our listeners know where they can find you and learn more about you.
Yeah, absolutely. AdamHergenrother.com. You can go there and check out all the organizations that we have. Our training organization, we just released the book, Founder and Force Multiplier, which is the strategic partnership between an executive, vice president, or anybody that's there versus assistant, EA, chief of staff, personal assistant, and kind of really creating a model and a framework for both individuals to read this and be able to kind of create those fierce conversations so that they can both together improve the organization.
Awesome work. So thanks for being here, Adam. You've been phenomenal. I would love to continue our conversation at another time. So this is Connie Pheiff, your host of The Connie Pheiff Show, and we are moving ideas forward and keeping the passion of life activated. Now, remember, we do have some feature advertising available, so just head over to ConniePheiffShow.com, and you can learn more there and how you can broadcast your story everywhere. And we also represent some of the best in the industry, from athletes to executives and celebrities who have either moved up. In most cases, they're moving out. And we work with them in that sweet spot to help them develop and build that business of their dreams so they can have that lifestyle that they want. Learn more about that and to see if you qualify at talentconcierge.co. Well, I'm going to leave you today. And thank you for being here. And again, you've been listening to the Connie Pheiff Show. And if you like what you're hearing, like us, share us with your friends and colleagues. And make sure you tag us so we can send you some of those free gifts. Until next time, activate your power and keep that passion of life moving forward. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye. Hey, y'all, it's Connie Pheiff. Thank you for listening to the Connie Pheiff Show. Check back often. You don't want to miss any of the good stuff. If you like what you hear and would like to be a guest on the show, head over to theconniefeifshow.com to apply. While you're there, check out our amazing advertising opportunities that will put you right in front of your perfect client. I will see you over there. Do yourself a favor this week. Activate your power and be unstoppable together.